What's up everybody, another beautiful day in the Dragonflight, and today we'll be going over the best enhancement builds for M+ in 10.0.7, which, to be fair, does not greatly differ from builds at launch of the expansion, but I'll gather them all in this video and go through them, how they work, optional talents, rotations, all the good stuff. Starting off with the ever spicy Elementalist Build. Now there's a few versions of this build, or rather some talents are flexible depending on what dungeon you're playing and who you're playing with. That is, if they need Windfury or not, or if you need more AoE or a single target, things like that. So starting off with the build, we have all the Lava Lash talents: Molten Assault, Hot Hand, Ashen Catalyst, and Lashing Flame. To empower our Lava Lashes and Flame Shocks, Lava Lash spreads Flame Shock, and targets hit by Lava Lash takes 100% increased damage from Flame Shock. And Flame Shock targets increases Lava Lash damage and CDR. Synergy. We then get improved Raging and Overflowing Maelstrom, so we can get and spend up to 10 Maelstrom. Ice Strike, Hailstorm, and Swirling Maelstrom for those Omega Papega Frost Shock slaps or nukes. 100% damage increase from Ice Strike on our Frost Shock, and up to 150% from Maelstrom spent, plus up to 5 additional targets. We may be Flame Shocking and Lava Lashing, but Frost Shock is where it's at. Then we have Crash Lightning, Crashing Storm, so Chain Lightning hits 2 additional targets and Crash Lightning deals more damage. Then we have all the Feral Spirit talents with Elemental Spirits, so that Maelstrom spent reduces Feral Spirit cooldown by 2 seconds per Maelstrom, and they increase either Frostfire or Lightning damage by 20% per wolf. Then we have all the Primordial Wave talents. We get full Maelstrom and 10% haste per extra Lightning Bolt we generate from it, up to 60%, enabling us to slap at supersonic speed. And of course up to 2 points in Elemental Weapons for 10% more Frostfire nature damage. And then we have Sundering for that burst damage and possibly crowd control. Now after this, the rest of the points are up for debate, if you will. The talents you can get are Elemental Blast, Windfury Weapon, or Windfury Totem. Now if your group does not need Windfury Totem, get either Windfury Weapon or Elemental Blast. Elemental Blast is better for single target damage, Windfury Weapon is better for AoE and smooths out your rotation a bit with Maelstrom generation. Now if your group does need Windfury Totem, then go for that and skip Windfury Weapon and Elemental Blast. You can skip Elemental Blast and Storm's Wrath, so you can get both Windfury Weapon and Windfury Totem. Now these are the most common swaps between talents, but don't be afraid to try out other combinations and sim yourself on raid bots, either AoE or Dungeon Slice, to test different combos. Some players skip Swirling Maelstrom to get both Windfury and Elemental Blast. Some take away a point from Elemental Weapons. There's tons of ways to get to the same goal, if you will, and there's not a huge discrepancy between them. It's like I said, Elemental Blast, great for single target and big mobs you need to chunk down. Swirling Maelstrom is great for single target as well, and less awesome on AoE where you already generate tons of Maelstrom. An Elemental Weapon is just a flat damage increase, so yeah, try some stuff out. I mostly play without Windfury Weapon and use a Howling Rune on my weapon instead, and spec into Elemental Blast so I can slap bosses, because most groups have people who Omega Papega pad on ads, so might as well slap bosses. So the goal with this build on AoE is to generate and spend a ton of Maelstrom in order to fire off Frost Shock nukes. So you want to make sure Flame Shock is at max targets, which is 6, if there are that many targets there. Feral Spirits on cooldown, Primordial Wave plus Lightning Bolt if you're at max Flame Shock targets. Frost Shock if it's buffed with either Hailstorm, Ice Strike, or both. Chain Lightning if you're at 10 stacks of Maelstrom, and there's free plus targets, otherwise Elemental Blast. Crash Lightning if it's empowered by Chain Lightning. Ice Strike to empower Frost Shock. Lava Lash if Hot Hand is procced, or if you're at 8 plus Ashen Catalyst stacks. Crash Lightning if its buff isn't up. And then you want to Chain Lightning or Elemental Blast if you're at 5 stacks of Maelstrom. Lava Lash, Storm Strike, Flame Shock if there's nothing else to press. And Sundering either as a crowd control or just a big bursty slap. Now on top of this, you want to swap target on every Lava Lash as they debuff mobs to take more damage from your Flame Shocks. And having Flame Shock up on 4 to 6 targets that take 100% increased damage from it, that's a lot of damn. Now if we swap over to single target instead, make sure Flame Shock is up, Feral Spirits on cooldown, Primordial Wave plus Lightning Bolt. If a boss spawns adds, try to hold it for that to get extra targets. Elemental Blast if you're at 10 stack of Maelstrom with Wolfies up or you're about to hit 2 charges on your Elemental Blast. Frost Shock if it's buffed with both Hailstorm and Ice Strike. Lava Lash if Hot Hand has procced or you're at 8 stacks of Ashen Catalyst. Elemental Blast with 5 Maelstrom and Wolfies up or you're about to hit 2 charges. And this is mostly because you really want to pump out Elemental Blast during your Feral Spirits. So if your Feral Spirits have like 3 seconds left, you have 5 Maelstrom, pump out an Elemental Blast, it will still slap. Then you want to Ice Strike to empower Frost Shock, and then you want to Frost Shock if it's empowered by only Hailstorm. And then Lava Lash, Storm Strike, Crash Lightning, Flame Shock if there's nothing else to press. And sure, there's a bit more to Elementalist if you really want to min-max, but this covers most of it, and it's all ifs and buts, and oh, if this procs, you press that, and if you have this much Maelstrom, you proc that. But some things like trying to make sure you're able to always get off 2 10x Maelstrom Elemental Blast during your Wolfies each time does a lot. Trying to always use Feral Spirits right before Primordial Wave to get all of that cooldown reduction from the 10 Maelstrom you generate also helps a lot. Now, as far as our class talent goes, these have been reworked or relocated in 10.0.7, so we're now able to get pretty much all the good utility we want. So the class tree I've linked in the builds below is a cookie cutter build that will work for all content. However, I urge you to try out different talents for different dungeons. Getting Chain Heal or Earth Shield can be a great way to help out your party in spicy keys. Poison Cleansing Totem clears all stacks now instead of one application, and Stone Skin Totem is great for a lot of bosses and trash pulls. So don't be afraid to be inventive. You can even pick a D-curse. Now with that said, let's take a look at a more physical oriented build for M+, which is a lot less complex than the Elementalist build, still utilizing Primordial Wave, but we add in a lot more Windfury stuff into the mix. So using the same tree as the Elementalist, we instead remove Hot Hand, Ashen Catalyst, and Lashing Flames in favor of Forceful Winds, Unruly Winds, and Doom Winds, as well as Alpha Wolf, instead of Elemental Spirits, so that our Wolfies AoE following a Crash or Chain Lightning. We also get either Storm Flurry, Elemental Blast, or Windfury Totem, again depending on what your group needs. Elemental Blast isn't as giga strong for this build since we don't run Elemental Spirit, but it still slaps more on single target than Lava Burst does. And Storm Flurry just helps out whenever we need to press Storm Strike, or sometimes when we press it. More Maelstrom, more Crash Lightning procs. But more often than not, Windfury will just win because we are more Windfury oriented, so having Windfury Totem is great. Plus melee likes you. But yeah, otherwise the talents are the same, still utilizing Frost Shock Slaps and Primordial Wave, but this build does more damage on heavy AoE compared to the Elementalist build. So in dungeons like Knockhead or Academy for example, where there are really big trash pulls. But it works really well in all dungeons really. It does however do less single target damage than the Elementalist build, so keep that in mind. So for this, on AoE the goal is again to pump out Frost Shock Slaps and Spenders, and due to the Windfury aspect of this build, we generate so much Maelstrom. It's insane. So on AoE, make sure Flame Shock is at max targets, which is 6. Feral Spirits on cooldown, always follow this with Chain or Crash Lightning to trigger their AoE. Primordial Wave plus Lightning Bolt if you're at max Flame Shock targets, and Frost Shock if buffed with either Hailstorm, Ice Strike, or both. Chain Lightning if you're at 10 stacks of Maelstrom, Crash Lightning if it's empowered by Chain Lightning, Lava Lash if Flame Shock is about to drop, Ice Strike to empower Frost Shocks, and Crash Lightning if its buff isn't up. Then you fill with Storm Strike, Lava Lash, and Flame Shock if there's nothing else to press. Now the cooldown Doom Winds is a bit special if you will. It's not simply a press button, receive bacon kind of cooldown. Instead it makes all your Windfury proccing abilities always proc Windfury. So on AoE you want to go Doom Winds into Sundering into Crash Lightning, as both of them trigger Windfury, and they trigger it on everything. Follow this by a Chain Lightning to lower Crash Lightning cooldown, and then either Crash Lightning again or Storm Strike if it's not off cooldown yet. And you can also Ice Strike to trigger Windfury here. And if you happen to have a fully empowered Frost Shock with this up, then do press it, but otherwise you just want a Windfury spam. So as an opener on a pack with this build, I'd go Flame Shock on one target, pop my Wolfies, Primordial Wave another target into Lava Lash into Lightning Bolt, followed up with Frost Shock into Doom Winds, Sundering, Crash Lightning into Chain Lightning, etc, etc. And Due to our Maelstrom generation, especially with the 60% extra haste that we get from Primordial Wave, we kinda just go Crash Lightning into Chain Lightning into Frost Shock into Crash Lightning and possibly Ice Strike, and the loop continues, but it feels like you're just doing Crash Lightning, Chain Lightning, Crash Lightning. It's hard to accurately put into words, but it is extremely fun and a lot less to keep track of than on the Elementalist build. You just kinda smash. Now on single target, make sure Flame Shock is up, Wolfies and Doom Winds on cooldown, Sundering during Doom Winds, Primordial Wave on cooldown or hold for adds if there's a boss that spawns them, Lava Burst if you're at 10x Maelstrom, Lightning Bolt if you're at 10x Maelstrom or no Lava Burst charges, Frost Shock if it's empowered by both Hailstorm and Ice Strike, otherwise Storm Strike, Ice Strike, Lava Lash, Crash Lightning and Flame Frost Shock if nothing else. Doom Winds on single target, you want to Prio, Storm Strike and Ice Strike, Sundering and then Crash Lightning. If Storm Strike keeps resetting, keep slamming it again and again and again. Each Storm Strike will proc a big old Windfury for you. And since it's single target, you really want to maximize that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for these two dungeon builds and what you can do with them. Now I'll also be linking the raid equivalent builds in the description below, but as I recently released raid guides for all bosses in the Vault of the Incarnates with builds, tips, tricks, all of that good stuff, I feel like it'd be a bit too much to go over it in this video as well. But I'll link the builds, and if you want in-depth info on how to really pad in the raid, do check out those guides. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the updated dungeon build guide. We'll make another one in 10.1. And if you have any questions, hit me up here, become a patron or Twitch sub and get access to the Stankie Gaming Discord, which is the fastest way to get a hold of me, and it's also filled with a lot of useful info and helpful people. Don't forget the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, ring that notification bell. Notice me! I'm also streaming all my progression rating on Twitch, Stankie Gaming. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.